Hello, your friendly neighborhood Mizzo here to explain to you about the identity speech. So, the first thing you should go do is go read the assignment description. If you have not already read that, you can easily find that on Schoology, and I believe that it is in the assignment folder. Um, so, go look at that. In this assignment description, I lay out a pretty concrete, easy way to do the speech. Now, I'll be perfectly honest with you. As long as you are meeting the skills you're supposed to be building, right? So if you look at the top, right, as long as you are developing a thesis statement, you've got organization, you're using evidence, you've got self-reflection, a clear conclusion, that's part of the organization, right? So as long as you are applying the concepts of identity and doing those other things, totally fine. So if you want to be more creative than this assignment sheet, that's great. The reason I wrote kind of a clear path is that I think sometimes people are already freaked out about public speaking. And so then giving them a lot of freedom is like they freak out even more. So if you want more freedom, take it. If you want to run that by me, if you've got other ideas and you want to make sure like, hey, I want to do this instead, like that's totally fine. I would say stick to 3 to 5 minutes. So you want the speech to be about 3 to 5 minutes, and you want to make sure you are applying or thinking through at least three identity pieces. And they can be I lean towards the ones highlighted in the book. I think there are arguments you could make that there are other pieces that the book doesn't focus on. But most of the stuff about you can be traced back to one of those, I believe. Um, if you don't want that kind of freedom and you don't want to just talk about your identity, um, the easiest way to do it, I think, is to find objects or memories or like tangible things that connect to your identity. So I will give you an example. If I was doing the speech, I would use my baby. So my baby is 4 months old, and I would, hold up my baby in the recording, and I would talk about how being pregnant and having a baby come out of my body uh, was complicated in terms of my gender identity. And I would use this idea of being pregnant, having a uterus, and breastfeeding, and all of these very like woman things. And I would talk about how I identify as genderqueer and how I am femme presenting and in many ways perform like a woman, but then how that's also challenged and, how that fit or did not fit in my body. Um, Another thing I might do is I have um, a bunch of like trinkets that I like relate to my childhood, and one of them links to the fact that my family on my dad's side is Polish, and like we're not like um we're not super, super Polish, but like that's like a point of pride for us. So maybe I could, I have some pierogies in the freezer, or even like my hair, like I have the Orchowski family hair. And so I would talk about my hair and how that like connects to my family identity, but then also traces to my, ethnic national identity as well. So there's so much you can do, right? Um, be aware, because I think sometimes it's easy to be like, so I did competitive speech for a long time, and I'm guessing many of you did sports, and so I think that it's easy to be like, my identity as a baseball player. While baseball player, while part of your identity, isn't the social identity piece, right? The social identity piece would be ability, your ability to play baseball. So make sure that whatever, right, like you know, instead of just talking about Christianity, right? If you're linking to your religious identity, you would want to note that Christianity is a religious identity. And it's not just like, I identify as a Christian, right? But it's like, identify as a Christian, which is my religious or faith identity, right? So thinking through those links, because I think sometimes we don't understand quite how that is connected. There's definitely, um, uh, I'm trying to think of other examples. Do you get what I'm saying? That like where it's something where it's like, oh, this is like I'm a coffee drinker, and it's like, well, that doesn't necessarily fit the, sort of social identifiers, right? Whereas like how you consume beverage might connect to your ethnic, your family. I very much think that me going to Starbucks is very much connected to my like racial and class points, right? It's very white lady that I like my Starbucks refreshers. And I think I could absolutely make an argument that like my trips to Target, my trips to Starbucks signify that like racial class point, an intersection of my gender, race, and class. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so as long as you're talking about those things, you're doing it, right? Um, go look at that worksheet because it kind of gives you some examples. And then also the rubric is going to guide for you what I'm looking for. So I can only grade you based on what I have set up here, right? So you'll need an intro and a setup, and that's 10 points. You want it, to get us into it and so that we kind of know what's coming. You want clear organization all the way through. I You could just do one identity point and do 3 different aspects of that, right? So like I could do that I'm a woman, and I could do like connected to that I'm a straight woman, I'm a white woman. So you could play with those intersections instead of doing 3 distinct, like this is woman, this is race, that or this is gender, this is race, this is sexuality. You could play with how those are intersected, and you could lean towards one more than the other. I would just be careful. I mean, you could do this too, where you just talked about being a woman, but I think it would be fun to apply or present more of those identity pieces that are found in the chapter instead of just focusing on one aspect of your identity. But I can only grade you on the rubric. So if you're following all of that and you're doing the highlighted goals, you're doing it, right? I like being proven wrong. So if you've got an idea, don't let my rules stop you. Does that make sense? That's the biggest thing. Don't try to do this right, because there is no right. Read the assignment sheet, get a creative idea, have fun talking about yourself, have fun selecting things you want to talk about, right? This is totally up to you. And you get to think about yourself in this way. A lot of times people end up really enjoying this assignment once they get past the idea that it's a speech, right? So some logistical things, we're going to upload these into the folder. It's already there in Schoology. It's on the main page. And it says it's like a media folder, and it's like, this is where you upload your identity speech. And I don't care how you do it. If you do it on your phone, you do it on your computer. And as long as you're able to upload it into that space so that everybody can watch it, great. If you want to be creative with what you do or how you do it, totally fine. Yeah. I am around, and feel free to email me if you have questions. I do not want you to stop and start the video once you start. Obviously, you can do multiple takes, though I would practice several times and then attempt to do it, attempt to record yourself. But don't, when you do record yourself, if you don't like the first take, just record yourself again and do it multiple times. That's just more practice. What I don't want you to do is stop and restart your video, right? You're like, oh, I messed up. And so then you want to use that first part and restart. Just redo it. You want it to feel alive, like I'm doing right now, right? I'm talking to the computer, and if I mess up, I mean, you saw me earlier kind of think through something and then, so that's all part of it. And that's the type of communication or communicative channel that we're looking for this. Because while it's not quite standing up in front of class, it's very different than trying to give me an edited video. So yeah, I really hope that you are picking things that feel important to you and that you're having fun talking about them. Have a good time. Enjoy yourself. Don't feel like you have to sound like a speaker or sound correct, right? Just talk, be yourself. Talk about some cool things. Remember, you pay in once, so you only have to do one speech, and then you get to watch like 20 other speeches. And most of the time people are like, oh, I loved listening to people. It's like, well, in order to love listening to people, you got to do one and talk yourself. If you've got any questions, just email me. I hope this helped. And remember, it's only 50 points. So 50 points out of 1,000, correct me if I'm wrong, is 5 Like it's a very small percentage of your grade. So if you know, hate public speaking, oh, and really don't want to do this, it's small. It's easy peasy. Please don't stress out about it. For your due date, check the syllabus. And I may also, for some of the classes, I may have moved the date as well. So I will clarify those in email or in class or both, probably. And again, if you need anything, just send me an email. I hope this helped and I appreciate you. Have a beautiful day.